We've been also joined on the line by Reverend Ntim Fordjour, who is the Deputy Education Minister, and indeed appears to be the only a member of the ruling party side in Parliament that was part of the proponents. He joins us on the line for a few comments on this matter. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. You should certainly be happy that this bill has finally seen the day of debate and moving to the next stage.
Thank you very much, Salom. Indeed, this is a great milestone in the process leading up to the passage of a bill that the whole of Ghana is looking forward to. The young, the old, across all religious sects and beliefs, traditional rulers, everyone unanimously support this position that it is a single legislation that will be remembered in history and is formidable and is going to stand the test of time, and several generations will come to remember this legislation as one. That's to protect the sanctity and dignity of the peoples of our land, our traditional values, our beliefs, and our norms as a people. And so we're thankful to God that we've been able to have the second reading done. Now, subsequently, we're going to have the consideration stage, and then eventually the third reading. And we just can't wait to get it passed.
I recall when your name came up as one of those pushing for the bill. I mean, some of your colleagues were not so happy about the fact that you were part of the team of minority MPs trying to push this. But, how did it happen in the end that we have all your colleagues now supporting this bill? What went on behind the scenes?
Yeah, so I don't recall any point where any of the members of parliament, both NDC and MPP, expressed any kind of reservation or any position contrary to what unanimously has been taken on the matter of LGBT. If you recall, somewhere exactly on 25th of August, 2017, that was in the 7th Parliament, that was the first time that I raised this matter in a press release. Citi, FM, Citi TV, and all media stations supported. They carried it widely. It became a big legislative matter at the time. Subsequently, I followed up with a statement to Parliament on the floor, and it was unanimously supported by both majority and minority, NDC, MPP, both sides of the aisle. The Speaker at the time supported, the Deputy, every leadership supported. And so that conversation has progressed to a point in the 8th Parliament where a private member's bill was occasioned. And I'm very proud to say that the co-sponsors of this bill, the great work they've done, my good brother Sam George, Honorable Sam George, Honorable Emmanuel Bedra, Honorable Helena Ntonso, Honorable De La Soa, and all the other co-sponsors who joined myself. We've all together as a teamwork who co-sponsored this bill. We're very grateful for the bold step that they've taken. But we also see that it is a private member's bill that not all 275 members of parliament will be able to sign up. Of course, you would need a few to co-sponsor it. And then when it comes to, even at committee level, it was a bipartisan, unanimous approval. There was no dissenting whatsoever. Both sides of the aisle at the committee level agreed. We sought the opinion of the Attorney General, which even came to enrich the position of our private members' bill, and eventually came to the floor of Parliament for second reading. So the entire Parliament has been carried along, and the position of the law that we are legislating is a true reflection of what the good people of Ghana stand for. You recall the CDD survey that was conducted that indicated that a significant 86% of people in this country will support the bill that we're sponsoring. So today is good news. It is a milestone. It is a win situation for the whole of Ghana, for MPP, for NDC, for every political party, for both sides of the aisle. It is a big victory for society. And so it is not something that any particular political party or member of parliament or just a small section can take credit for, because we also recognize the strong support and contribution of the religious community, the clergy, Ghana Pentecostal Charismatic Council, Ghana Christian Council, the Catholic Bishop Conference, all the Muslim Umbrella Association of Islamic brothers and sisters, or traditional rulers, every belief system found expression strongly in this position taken. It is not a religious law. It is not just a matter of morals, but it's a product of an intellectual consultation, which very, very interestingly does not violate, no portion of the bill violates any portion of the Constitution of Ghana, neither does any portion of our bill violate any international treaty or Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So this is a great position boldly expressed, and it's a collective victory. What we are saying is that the advocacy for and promotion of and the propaganda of LGBT and its related activities, they are proscribed, and so must they be. And the position of the law strengthened to adequately deal with the fluidities and the gray areas around it.
Very well. There are people who think that, yeah, this is a good law, but we will be fighting a losing battle because it is just a matter of time that Ghana will eventually be engulfed in this practice as well, because it's something that is running across the whole world, and Ghana on its own cannot be an island, no matter the stringent nature of your laws. So, for example, I mean, we consume movies. Of course, Sam George has spoken about the part about advocacy, etc. But do we have the bandwidth as a people to monitor TV stations, even this day and age, social media, WhatsApp messages that may seek to propagate, videos that may seek to propagate the practice we are prescribing now? Do we have that bandwidth?
This bill that we are soon going to pass into law is one that is formidable. It's one that has come to stay. It's one that is relevant today, and it's one that is going to be relevant in the next 500, 800, 900 years. It is not something I foresee being overturned. If there's any portion of it that will even be amended in the future, it's going to be one that will enhance further the position and even make it more robust in dealing with what as a people we prescribe. It's not something that is going to wash away. So it's for this generation, the future generations to come. Ghana is not going to be an island because there are many countries that have similar legislation. Our good brothers in the Gulf region, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, you can name them, Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, and many other countries that are not even in Africa. They have similar laws, legislations that mirror the position that we have taken, and those legislations have stood the test of time. And so Ghana is not going to be the first to take this position, and definitely this is formidable and is going to survive. So we are not doing anything peculiar and novel. It is something that is a practice, a legislative practice that is practiced in many very notable countries. And so what we are saying and what we always say is that this is not a diplomatic battle, neither must this become must this occasion any diplomatic brawl, because each country is sovereign and each country has the liberty to pass laws that reflect the ideals and values of their people. And so oftentimes when we had even disagreed with people, our brothers in the West, who have even in some cases accepted some part of LGBT, some even United States, for instance. It's not across all the states that have accepted LGBT. There are some states now you can in the United States today which abhor and prescribe LGBT. And so what we're saying is that even for those ones who have unanimously accepted various elements of LGBT in their laws, it's not being unanimous. It is a law position they've taken, but you still find a good number of their people dissenting. But nonetheless, there's a law they've taken, and every other country in the spirit of good neighborliness and mutual respects the position they've taken. So when they travel there, they do as the laws have determined. Much the same way, we have taken this position which reflects our ideals and norms and beliefs, and it does not in any way violate any international treaty. In much the same way, in reciprocity, we expect that even if any country in the West does not agree with our position, they must respect what the majority and overwhelming majority of the people have expressed as what we want and what we want to go by, and therefore must not ruffle any feathers in our trade, in our diplomatic relations or friendliness whatsoever. And therefore, we expect that they make pronouncements that are decent, that are respectful, and that will further enhance the already cordial relations we have with them.
The danger many people fear is that, of course, the bill does not prescribe mob justice, and things like that in dealing with the problem. The bill actually deals with due process. But, not everybody will read the bill. Are you not worried that some persons in society may begin to exert their own forms of discipline or mob justice on suspected practitioners of this practice? Of course, the police will arrest those people taking the law into their own hands, but it might be too late. They may have caused harm to people before the police arrest them. Are you not concerned or worried about that?
The Constitution, relevant portions of the Constitution, Article 14, Article 17, Article 33, various portions speak to the liberties, freedom, and the human rights that must be protected. And definitely that is what this bill seeks to address. Yes, like other laws which have prescribed theft, which have prescribed murder, which have prescribed armed robbery, for instance. There is still provision in that law that protects the suspect of those crimes. And so it is the particular acts that have been prescribed or that we are seeking to prescribe. But the practitioners or suspected practitioners, there are adequate provisions in the bill that will protect them even in the event where they are being found or determined or pronounced by a court as guilty. They still have their human rights that will be protected. And so this law is in no way is promoting it. Neither is it going to promote, no shape or form in any way, going to promote mob justice or anything of that nature against people suspected or even determined to have fallen foul of any part of the law we are proposing. So there's adequate provision for protection of everybody's human rights. However, the very act that will be in contravention with the law is what adequate provisions have also been made to prescribe. So no one is in this country. No one is encouraged, even before the coming into being or force of this law, is encouraged to have a mob justice against anyone who has committed any crime or suspected to have committed any crime. And so, even when certain instances of mob justice sadly had occurred, they were not particularly associated with any particular kind of crime. Sometimes it cuts across. So even that is prescribed, and mob justice is prescribed, and is in much the same way. Any kind of crime, anyone that is suspected or even determined to have been guilty, still needs protection, and an adequate provision in this bill to protect that person.
Someone called Alex from Spinter just sent a message, and I want to know your view on this. He said, I pray we shall see the day when the hypocrisy of our elderly will fall and we will begin to respect the rights of people. What a man does in his room shouldn't be the state's concern unless it infringes on the rights of another. One day we will wake up and wonder why we ended up in this oppressive space or place. What do you say to persons with this kind of concern?
The position of the law is very clear. People have their right to express their views. The interesting thing is that over 86% are people who have determined that as a society, we have come from somewhere, we're going somewhere, we are guided by our rules, our norms, and in any civil society, there are basic principles that guide our identity, our lifestyles, and therefore, the adequate laws must be made so that we don't get to a situation where people will just get up and say, under the guise of human rights, I feel like I'm a woman. Now the next day I feel like I'm a man. The next day I feel like I'm wood, I'm cat. I feel like I can go and sleep with just anything or anybody of same sex. There must be decency. There must be orderliness. There must be there must be order that is guiding how we have been wired and created as human beings, and therefore matters of sexual perversion, as I put it, must not be condoned as human rights. They are sexual perversion. That is not how anybody is created. And so yes, there are people who have such psychosocial challenges, and then we are making provisions in the law that will offer support to such persons to restore them and to orient them properly. And so such persons thinking that, well, anybody at all can do anything so long as it is in a room. You cannot plan a coup in a room. You cannot do certain things in a room. So we need to understand the matters we are raising in that context, and not lump everything under human rights to say that this bill in an Australian authority, this bill, no provision in it infringes or violates any international treaty or universal declaration of human rights.
Very well.
Neither does
Yes.
any portion violate the Constitution.
Yes,
and I want the freedoms, the liberties, and the dignity of our peoples are going to be safeguarded by this.
And I want a very quick answer on this. So, can I, for example, after the passage of this bill, call someone who has, an opposing view on the matters to speak to? Will I be allowed to do that by the provisions of this bill?
Oh yes. So that people will say, oh well, I am not gay, I'm not lesbian, I'm not transgender, I'm not this, but mine is to advocate for people that they can do advocacy for promotion of, it's all prescribed, and that is a key object.
So I cannot call somebody to express an opposing view.
You cannot propagate. Neither can you agenda a propaganda or an advocate. Cannot mount an advocacy for the promotion of LGBT and related activities. As every society, Salom, is a product of what they preach, of what they advocate, of what they propagate, of what they prefer, and sometimes written and unwritten in various forms. That is what culminates over a period into what society stands for, what becomes crystallizes into societal practice and value. And therefore, we need to safeguard all aspects to ensure that we have the sanctity and dignity of our people intact.
Very well. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much, Reverend Ntim Fordjour, Deputy Education Minister, and also a key proponent of the so-called anti-gay bill.